Good morning. We are the Fantasy Buzz podcast, and we are here on week 16, what does that mean? That means finals for a lot of teams, but not a lot of teams. So if you are in the finals today or in the consolation game like I am, good luck. Yes, I made a little bit of a mistake, but that happens. Anyway, I am here. I am the Cyclop. I am here with the commish, and he is up in the mountains today enjoying himself. We are here to help you out with your last minute decisions with some updates going into week 16. It has been quite a season. So give us a call if you would like to talk at 772-800-BUZZ. There's the number now, 2899 instead of Buzz. And you can also put in your questions, put it in our comments, and we will get back to you. We will give you our opinion, which may help and may not, but we always think it does. I think we've had a pretty good track record this year, and we are excited for week 16. Kamish, I know you're up there in the mountains. You are excited. You are in our main league that we have been going on for about 30 years now, as we discussed, not in a row for you, but it is about 30 years, and you have never won this league.
No, other leagues. I haven't. I've been the bridesmaid many times, but never the bride. So unfortunately, because of injuries and everything else, I feel like I'm going to end up the bridesmaid again this year. But regardless, it's been a very interesting year, and it's been. And I'll pose the question to you again today, which we can talk about: is it more impressive to have all the people in your game today that you drafted, or people that you did not draft? In other words, you had a significant game management season, and that's what happened with me. I only have one player today that I drafted.
That is quite amazing.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting, and with all the injuries, and we'll talk about that. All the changes, everything going on, it's tough. And this is the finals for a lot of people. And there's a lot of people that are out, a lot of things that normally would, be just routine players. They're not playing today. And it's
this week 16 feels like a week 17.
It
right?
does.
Like so many players out and hurt, and Christian McCaffrey, they say he's hurt, but really the realistic thing, they probably just
they're saving him.
They're saving him. It's like, why bother at this point, right? So I'm one of those fantasy players who drafted Christian McCaffrey, and obviously I got 2 games out of him, and very frustrating. He's still on my roster. I was thinking of symbolically dropping him because we're not a yearly league, we're a redraft league. So I was actually, last night I was looking at my roster. I'm like, I'm just going to drop him. I'm not starting with this week, but I didn't. Anyway, so let's get right into some updates. I know you have some updates for us, and then we will get to some questions, and we will get into some other questions that we had about the what you just posed, and we'll go from there. So let's get some updates and see what's happening today.
All right. Well, first of all, one that really hurts, which I knew was coming, Keenan Allen, not expected to play today. He has not yet been placed on the list to the inactive list, but this is from Adam Schefter. Hold on one second. It sounds like we've got Ken. How you doing, Kenneth?
Hey, pretty good. I'm in a bit of a quandary in a couple of key spots heading into this week.
Okay.
And I'm needing some help.
Okay.
One of my spots is wide receiver 2. I have Mike Williams starting. He's playing Denver. Should I roll with him? My other option I have is DJ Moore, who's playing at Washington.
I'm going with DJ Moore here.
Yeah, I would go with DJ Moore here as well, only because we don't know what's going to happen with Mike Williams. He's boom or bust. He's got a high ceiling. He could get those 2 touchdowns. But as far as a guy who's going to get the volume, I think DJ Moore is your better option.
Yeah, Mike Williams, of course.
In my flex, I have Corey Davis. He's playing at Green Bay.
Right.
But the opposing rank on him, as far as that spot's concerned, is 8. The other option I do have Mike Davis, who's also playing at Washington. I have Malcolm Brown, was playing at Seattle. And I could also use Mike Williams, who's playing in Denver.
All right. Well, to me, it's really between Davis and both Davises, Corey Davis and Mike Davis. If you're going to be starting DJ Moore, it's tough to have both Moore and Davis. I've never been a fan of having the running back and wide receiver on the same team because at any given moment, both of them cannot score. And that's always been an issue for me.
Right.
As far as between Mike Davis on the flex versus Corey Davis, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? I have Mike Davis at 20, Brad, in running back.
I mean,
around 18.
Right, at wide receiver. It's kind of a coin flip. Put both Davis names in a hat, pull one out. So,
right.
But we always tend.
Thomas?
Yes, you start Logan Thomas.
Yes.
Yes.
I started Kittle at tight end.
Oh, you're talking about for flex.
Would it be wise to put Logan Thomas in at my flex spot?
I don't know. I'd be between Logan Thomas and Corey Davis. I think Logan Thomas is probably your better option just because I believe without McLaurin today that it's very possible that you're going to see a lot of Logan Thomas. So I like the idea of Logan Thomas. If we had a flex position in our league, I probably would have started Kittle and Thomas as well.
Oh, and one more. I have David Johnson in my RB2. He's playing Cincinnati.
Yes.
Would it be good to roll with him?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
anyway,
absolutely.
guys,
Duke Johnson is out.
Taking my call.
All right, Kenneth, and we appreciate.
All right, Kenneth.
We'll talk to you next. Yeah.
And just a couple of heads up. I don't know if you got my message, but Cam Akers is out.
Right.
That's why I got Malcolm Brown in.
Right.
And also CEH. I don't know if you heard he's out.
Right.
Yep. Okay. We got that. We're doing updates. Kenneth, we're doing updates now, so we're getting to that right now.
Right.
Yeah, probably do Tuesday, but listen up and we'll let you know.
Okay. Thanks.
All
anyway,
right. Take care.
Okay. So
Brown is go ahead.
All right, so Kamish, we do have a comment here, and I know we're going to get to the updates. Let's bring in Javi's comment here because this is something we will talk about. I said, thanks for everything. I think I won my championship, had Kamara. All right, was the underdog going into the week. All right, so let's get to this. Javi, first of all, congrats if you win today. That's great. I know you've been asking questions all year, so hopefully we were able to help you out. Kamara, right? He goes off 6 touchdowns, sets a record, all of this. I have partial ownership in a team that is going against Kamara. All right. So after that, everyone's just like, done, I'm out, right? Well, the team that I have this partial ownership in has Myles Gaskin. The other team had Ayuk. So all of a sudden, it's now a 13 or 14-point game after each team had 2 players. Well, you're still in it. It's nice to get overconfident. You had Kamara go. Everyone, it's like a fantasy miracle that he had 6 touchdowns and 180 total yards or something around there. Yes, he's getting 55 to 60 points in leagues, but keep an eye, right? We've seen this before. One player goes off and all of a sudden your other players on your team have flops and it's a close game. Hopefully you hang in there and you hold on, and congrats. What do you think?
I would love to see a screenshot of
his team
scores right now, who he's playing against and what his scores are. And can't do the screenshots and just let us know. But I will tell you this with Alvin Kamara, not you so much, but I know 2020 was down on him throughout the year, and I kept saying, oh, he's only ranked number 2 in fantasy football. And it was just a constant, I don't know what everyone was expecting from him. But The bottom line is, as of right now, and unless Derrick Henry gets 35 yards or 35 points, which, God, I really hope he does.
Right.
Alvin Kamara is going to end the season as the number one fantasy running back. And for anyone even to even think about saying he wasn't having a good year or that he's not a good running back, I mean, it's ridiculous. The guy is national, and everybody should have been on that bandwagon from day one.
Yeah. All right. So let me throw this out to you. Okay. He started off great. I'm going with a one league scoring system. 21, 34, 44. Then he goes 19, 18, 19, 20, 13, 32. And then at weeks 11 and 12 and 13, he goes 10, 6, and 16. And then 19 and 16. So overall, he started off great and obviously ended yesterday with a bang. It's like, is Sean Payton sitting there? Oh, I'm going to give all these fantasy people a little present, and keep running them from the 1 yard line, and Breeze doesn't get any touchdowns. Do these coaches think like that? I don't know, but
probably not.
He had a good year numbers wise, but it kind of had this like really high or just average. And average from a running back isn't necessarily bad.
I understand that, but even if you're making 16, 18 points a game, that's pretty good. That's really good. That's actually top 5 good. He actually, at the end of the season, he was number 3 in average. If you take out McCaffrey, he's actually number 2 in average behind Dalvin Cook. It's possible, again, that Derrick Henry goes off today, and then he'll jump that. But okay, I was just on my soapbox.
No, I know. All right, so let's get through these updates. Let's do it, and we have some other stuff to talk about.
Okay, so I mentioned Keenan Allen. Like I said, he hasn't been placed on the inactive list yet, but he most likely will not play. So your options there are really Guyton or Tyron Johnson. We know that Hunter Henry is also out, so it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see a lot of passes to Eckler, but it's going to be a very interesting day. As for whether or not you can trust someone like Tyron Johnson, I don't know if you can, especially in a championship game. Allen Robinson, he was questionable dealing with a hamstring. He will most likely play today. I'm actually going up against him. So, if you need to rest Allen, I understand. Antonio Gibson, who's had issues, you're going to go over that with regard to running backs. Tyreek Hill, he also had some issues on his hamstring. He is expected to play as well. Jarvis Landry, we heard what's going on in Cleveland. If you haven't heard it now, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but Landry, Higgins, and People-Jones are all out because they were in close contact with someone who tested positive for COVID, which means that there are only 3 receivers in Cleveland. The one who is the most famous is Hall, who comes over from Detroit and has only been on the team for 2 or 3 weeks. He's in healthy scratches, but they have 4 tight ends that, including Njoku and Hooper. And so look for
and a couple of pretty good running backs.
Yeah, and look for them to pick up the slack on that. And for the most part, we already told you Julio Jones, he's out. So there's not a lot of options out there. But if you're stuck, if you have one of these guys, let us know, and we will tell you let us know what options are there, and we can give you a little help on who to pick. Brad, what do you got on the running back side?
So running backs, obviously he already played, but Mostert was out yesterday. Jeff Wilson comes in, and I will say I was listening, because I listen to other podcasts and other fantasy radio, and there was an announcer yesterday, no names given, who was adamant, do not start Wilson. He said, I'm telling all my friends, don't start Wilson. Don't start Wilson. And what did Wilson do? He has 180 and a touchdown. Pretty good day.
You know the announcer's name because we need to make sure we don't follow him.
Let's just say it was somebody on Sirius XM.
Okay. Oh, okay, I got you.
Okay. So Akers, yes. Akers is out, as also Kenneth told us. They go against Seattle, so you have Brown and Henderson there. I don't know if I trust either one of these guys, because if one starts doing well, the other one comes in, and hawks the touchdown. Or, you just don't know what you're going to get there. They obviously need a win after coming off of a pretty tough week. So I look for them to be throwing a lot and try to control that game. Ezekiel Elliott, he is listed as questionable today. He did say yesterday that he does expect to play, but we thought that last week as well. So if you have Tony Pollard, I'm not opposed to still starting him because I think it'll be split. I think you'll see him come in. He's a nice change of pace. Obviously, he had a really nice game last week, and they play against Philadelphia. Hilaire is out against the Falcons, so look for Bell there. James Robinson, kind of this solid guy all year, right? Number 4 overall in fantasy right now, out this week. They go against Chicago. They have a Zigbo, and that's going deep if you need to pick that guy up. Obviously, Fournette got the start yesterday again. Tampa had a ridiculous first half, so Fournette didn't play in the second half, but he still had a touchdown, did okay. Smith is named the starter in Atlanta. Gio had a good week last week, and he gets the Jets this week. So, obviously Mixon is still out. He's been gone for, is he another?
No, Gio does not get the Jets this week.
He had the Jets last week. I'm sorry. He gets Houston this week.
Right.
Just about the same as the Jets as far as defense.
They don't have a good run defense either, Houston.
Right. Yeah. They got eaten up last week. So right. I would start him again if you have him. And then, as you said, Gibson is still questionable today. We'll see if he plays, unless you've heard any last-minute updates. No, he's still questionable. They obviously need a win, so they want him to play.
Right.
He's still game time.
But yeah, it's going to be a game time decision. But even then, I think even if he plays, I don't know if he's going to be as effective, and it'll probably continue to be a sharing backfield, a running back by committee for them today.
Right, with McKissick, who's been solid this year, coming in off the bench. So those are the updates I have for running back, unless missing any that I didn't see today.
No.
I think obviously with the whole thing happening in Cleveland, Hunt and Chubb are both good starts today.
Yeah.
So
all right. So Kenneth, he's been our caller. He's called in every week that we've done the show, and we appreciate you following us this year. We hope you had a Merry Christmas. You're welcome. He thanked us for the help this year. He didn't make the final. We finished in the top 4, which is okay. That's a great attitude. Look, we all do the best we can, and we got to remember it's just fantasy football. And I know it's just fantasy football, but the point is that's a great attitude to have. Even if you don't win your championship, it's okay. You had a good year. Did you have fun playing? I've had a great year. It's been a lot of fun playing fantasy football this year. There's been a lot of challenges, which to me makes it more fun. Had I drafted a great team and I just let it roll, I might as well play best ball. So right. It's been a really fun season, and I'm and I know Brad, you and I are going to start working on our draft prep in a few weeks.
Yeah.
For next year, so we can continue. Looks like we got another call coming in. If I can figure this out here, hold on 1 second. Welcome to the Buzz. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. I have some more updates for you.
Okay.
Chicago Bears receiver Allen Robinson, he is expected to play.
Right.
Giants wide receiver Marquise Brown, he's likely a go. Tyreek Hill, he's likely a go. From what I'm hearing, he's questionable, but head coach Reed has said he should be ready to go. That's pretty much the gist.
Looks like we lost the call. Looks like we lost the commish as well. Kenneth, thank you for giving us a call and updating us on those those last minute updates. Yep, keep an eye on what's going on. Oh, the commission's back.
Yeah, all of a sudden it dropped. I don't know what happened. I hope it's not an omen for today's games.
What was that? Oh,
it's not an omen for today's games.
Yeah. You were discussing earlier about, is it better as a fantasy owner to have drafted well, or better to have traded and done pickups well?
Right.
Obviously it can go both ways. If you drafted good and you still have 80% of your team and that's what you're rolling with, you're going to be like, oh, I drafted great. I didn't have to make trades. But if you didn't, or your players got hurt, and Christian McCaffrey, like I'll give my example: McCaffrey, Miles Sanders, and Jackson, right? Were my my first three picks. None of them were on my team. I had barely, I didn't start all three of them together at all 1 week at all because of injuries and they were hurt. And I've traded all of them, and my team ended up completely different. I think I only had two. I think I had three people that ended my year on my roster or my bench that I drafted. That was Darren Waller and Robert Woods, and I think the Eagles defense, which I don't know why I didn't drop at some point, but I really didn't even start them.
Well, I'm curious what other people also, what was the one move that they made this year that really took them to that next level?
Right.
Obviously, for me, I made two major trades this year, one with you, one with your brother.
Yep.
And those two trades actually allowed me to get where I am. So what I'm curious what the one move is for people out there that actually got them to the championship game, or, high enough to where they were happy with their season. I know that Brad, you talked about your trades, and you were a trade master this year. The fact that all the adversity you went through to even get to the point you were at was pretty incredible. I mean, who thought you would make the playoffs after the first 5 or 6 games, and you just stormed back? So
yeah,
that was very impressive, and it was beyond your control, right? I mean, it's not like we sit here and we talk about you're making bad decisions on who to start. We know at the end there was one, but that was still.
Yeah, I know. That was analysis by paralysis, right? I kind of overthought it.
No, it could go either way. It's not like it was a terrible decision. It's just that it didn't go your way. There's a difference. So I'm curious what other people out there, what was the one move that they made that really took them to that next level?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in what we would consider our consolidation game, not consolidation. Consolation game. Thank you. Today, right, for 3rd and 4th, and there's still, you get something for that. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 9 players that I'm starting today were free agents.
Yeah,
that I picked up in free agency. 2 were from my draft, and 1 was from a trade. The other main people that I traded for are either hurt or are actually both hurt today.
Wow.
Yeah. So that,
and I have 6 out of 9 that I'm starting in my championship game that were free agent pickups.
That were free agents. It's amazing, right? We put all this time into the draft and
right,
and all this time into all this, and you look at people's teams at the end, and people that have the most players on their team. Now you're playing. I'm just looking at who you're playing today, which is the T-Town Ringer. Has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that he drafted that he's starting today.
Yeah,
right. So there's that balance. That's good. That's really good as well. He only has 2 players. One is his kicker, so I don't know if we count that, but 2 players that he's starting today from free agent.
Well, let's think of it this way, right? So had I kept, because again, I have Lamar that I'm starting Lamar today, but I received him in a trade
from me, correct?
Yeah, Chris Carson I drafted. Derrick Henry I got in a trade, but these trades were with people that I had drafted, right?
Right.
And then when you look at my bench, I had drafted Keenan Allen. He's going to be out today. I had drafted Julio Jones. He's going to be out today. And because of these things, I had to pick up. I had no choice. So I'm not proud of the fact that I'm starting all these free agents. I wish that Julio Jones and Keenan Allen were healthy and that I was able to play them. But unfortunately, that's not the case today. And I just got to, hope for the best at this point.
Right. It'd be interesting to do kind of an analysis in our league. Maybe we'll do that. See the teams that are in the playoffs and against the teams that didn't make the playoffs, and about how their teams look now, considered, how they drafted. It'd be interesting to see if it was through trades, and that type of analysis. But we could do that later on. As far as today goes, is there anything going on the
inactive? So that doesn't hit for another 5 minutes, so we won't know about that.
Okay.
From an NFL standpoint, there's some very interesting games. Because because the Dolphins played last night, and we can talk about that. But because last night. Today is just an all non-Dolphin football.
Right. It's all fantasy all day.
Exactly. So there's some really good games today just to be able to sit back and watch. There's also some bad ones. We've had some good ones over the past few days. Some crazy games, but nothing like the Dolphin game last night. Bad officiating, but in the end, it worked out for Miami.
So going to the Dolphins, and I know it's off of fantasy topic a little bit. What did you think of Tua last night? Do you kind of chalk it up to he's still learning, didn't have enough tools?
I can't put tools because Fitz had the same tools that Tua did. So if anything, it's strictly a matter of him learning. And they were Kurt Warner was talking about the fact that Fitz is teaching Tua how to throw receivers open. And for Tua, he needs to be able to know that when a receiver hits a certain spot based on the defense, he can throw it. They're going to be open. They mentioned the fact that Tua was used to having these receivers who had separation, and that would be great. And hopefully the Dolphins at some point will have receivers that get separation. But as of right now, we don't. And Tua cannot play in that type of game. So, the question will be, do we just go ahead and start Fitz from the beginning next week against the Bills, even though it's already been announced that Tua is going to get the start? Look, there's only one way to find out if Tua is going to be the guy, and that's to play him and see whether or not he can pick it up. If he's going to be in one of these positions where he can't learn how to do this, then the Dolphins need to move on at that point.
Yeah, it's interesting. You watch, and it's happened a couple times this season. They're winning games. Their defense has been a big part of them winning games, obviously, in this stretch. It's almost like, you go back to the Fitzmagic, and Fitzmagic, he seems to have this like aura about him coming off the bench, right? You come off the bench and you kind of, it's like when you come in off the bench, you have nothing to lose. So I'm just going to sling it. And he's kind of known as a slinger anyway. But in a game like last night, he had to come off. They weren't running the, handoff, throw, handoff. They weren't running the dink and dunk offense. They're running, hey, we got to score. So it's a different mentality. Yeah. So, it's almost like the college mentality, right? Where teams are saying, well, this guy's going to have the start, but we're going to see how the game flow goes.
Right.
And bring in different people. And that's kind of what you're seeing with Miami right now. It worked out last night by some kind of miracle, as it seems, but I don't know. It's a little confusing as a Dolphin fan because you hope Tua gets it at some point. Like you hope that he can see the field and see what's happening. You feel like Burrow, and you feel like
Herbert.
Herbert. They see it, and it seems like it clicks, right? And you hope that Tua can get there.
And if not, then they move on. But right now, we've rebuilt that defense, and very impressive what he's done with Flores has done. But yeah, just nothing we can do as fans, right? Just sit back and hope.
That's all. I mean, Flores is making good calls. I think he's making good decisions when he needs to. He's not like, oh, I'm just going to stick with him because that's what I said, and that's real coaching,
right?
And so I appreciate that as a fan. He's not necessarily listening to outside noise.
Yep, absolutely.
So anyway, we let's see. Did I see moist? I don't know what exactly that means.
Oh, you had put in when you had set up the show originally. You said instead of the word most, I think you put moist or something like that. But
so
I think it's Steve's attempt of being funny.
All right, nice try, Steve. Yeah, we appreciate it. All right, so I'm gonna bring it. We had, hopefully we get some more comments and questions in here. If you have any decisions to make, I'm gonna bring this up. I know I brought it up to you. We'll see if any of our league members are listening. But there's a rule change. We're gonna start, and as we do our wrap up show, we'll look at rule changes for next year and all those things. I want to bring one up that I saw, and I have people text me during the week and send messages and whatnot. This is one that I thought is interesting. Of course, as you talk to people about it, there's always things that can be positive and negative. But the one I thought is intriguing, it's called hindsight, right? What a great year to bring a rule in. Hindsight, because of 2020 and, all those, and in such a screwed up year. But this is a rule that would allow you one time for one player a year to make a change, put someone in from your bench that would have made a difference in your game to have to change the game, to change the outcome after. So let's say
Kamara on the bench the other night.
Right.
For whatever reason.
Now, okay, hold on. Right. You have Kamara. Say it comes Monday night and you've lost your game by 50 points and Kamara had 54. You let your commissioner know by Tuesday. I think we could put a time stamp on it, 12 o'clock, whatever it is, that you want to make that change. You're not telling the person you're playing. You're not telling anybody. You just tell the commissioner. Obviously, if you're playing the commissioner, you tell somebody else. And that would give you the win. Now, you can do it one time all season. It's very interesting. It could lead, and then the other team, like say, okay, I'm up by 50, and he's going to put Kamara in, so I'm going to put in whatever, Aaron Rodgers, was on my bench to get an extra 5 points because, so you both could make a change the same week, and you could make the change and still lose.
Right.
Now, it could turn into a scenario. I've heard different things about this. One of the things brought up was it could bring into a scenario where that could happen to me 4 weeks in a row. I could be playing, that could happen. It's not super likely, but I guess that could happen. What do you think about this?
I think it's very interesting. I like the concept of being able to switch out, call it hindsight rule or whatever you want to call it. If you do it once, then you can only do it once, and it can only be, I think it's a great idea because it could really change the course of the season for both players.
Absolutely.
How many times you say, God, if I only had started this person. For some people, it happens every week when they say that. But, if you kind of know what you're doing, you can't help with the fact that, for example, last Monday night when the Steelers, if somebody had Ebron
right,
and they only needed 2 points, and so they used another tight end and Ebron gets hurt on the first play, that's not your fault. So it's interesting. You know what else I would like?
Yeah.
And it's going to be 2021 in a few days.
Yeah.
I love the concept of live fantasy football, where just like in the NFL, if you want to bench somebody or bring somebody in the middle of the game and put somebody on the bench in the middle of the game, you should have the ability to do that. And we have the ability because stats are being tracked real time. Now, I know that might be an advantage or disadvantage for some people who don't track it, aren't watching the games, don't have access. But if you have a league of people who are all like-minded and all have the ability to have their computer with them during the games, the fact that if one of your guys gets hurt, throw them in the bench, bring up somebody else, but you only get the stats moving forward for that person. And
does the system allow that to happen?
I don't know if there is a system, but I don't know why you can't, because again, all the stats are tracked real time in the NFL, and so many different there's ways of tracking it. It'll be harder at the end of the day when you get a box score and you see, 15 rushes for 50 yards. Yeah, but I only get 7 of those. So it'll be harder to see that. But if you had a system that tracked it like that real time, it would be interesting, and it would be.
That's interesting because our system, with our league, you bring up, we have team quarterback, right?
Right.
So essentially, it does do that for that.
Oh, sounds like we got another call coming in. Welcome to the Buzz. Who's calling?
Hey, it's Jeff. How are you guys doing today?
Jeff.
How are you?
Good. We're in championship week, and there's some decisions to be made today.
Yep.
So I have one flex player available. I have a couple of choices here. I have Tony Pollard and Zeke, Antonio Gibson, or T.Y. Hilton. One of those 4.
Wow.
Is going to start.
Wow.
I have Tyreek Hill. I also have Tyreek Hill. I can't bench him.
No, you're not benching Hill.
And Tony Pollard was the obvious choice before Zeke was declared eligible.
I don't know. My gut feeling is Tony Pollard, just because even if Ezekiel Elliott does play, I doubt it'll be a significant amount of time. With the way that Pollard's been playing lately, I see him getting the ball more. But again, Jeff, these are all throw them in a hat and pick them. I personally don't have a strong opinion on any of these. Brad, do you have any thoughts on this?
So Jeff, thanks for calling. We've had this discussion a little bit already. It would be so easy if Zeke was out, right? It's a no-brainer. I still think Pollard will get the share of the carries after his performance last week. Dallas still has a chance at the playoffs here.
Gibson.
So Gibson is questionable still at this point, or game time decision. Has anything come out with him yet?
No.
Hasn't come out yet. If he plays, he's kind of a hard guy to bench just because of how he's been doing.
Yeah, but the problem with Washington is they don't play till 4.
Right.
I mean, the
Cowboys play at 4 as well.
Right. So here's the thing: if I would wait till 3:30 and see whether or not. So to me, it's going to be between Gibson or Pollard. If Gibson plays, I start Gibson. Otherwise, I would go with Pollard. But again, I think you would. Those are just picks you put in a hat. I wouldn't. I don't have a strong opinion on any of them.
Right.
It's pretty scary.
I would against Kamara in my championship game. Luckily, he also had Brandon Ayuk, so that was a nice counterbalance for me.
Right, and you had Gaskin, who
and I had Gaskin.
Late game heroics and leaves you in. This is the game I was telling you about earlier, Kamish.
Right.
That after the Kamara miracle game, as Javi was saying, it looks like he won his league. You got to be careful. The other team only needs one guy to get that 30 to 40 points, and there's somebody you're back in it.
Yeah.
Then, Commissioner, I have a quarterback question for you.
Sure.
I have a couple of studs. Josh Allen against the Patriots Monday night. Bill Belichick defense. Justin Herbert, or Herbert, whatever you want to call him.
Right.
Although Keenan Allen is out, he's kind of dropped off. Or Jalen Hurts. I have all 3 on my roster.
Okay, so Josh Allen probably got you to the championship game with his arm.
Oh, of course.
So even though I think Jalen Hurts may have a better game. It would be hard for me to suggest to you to bench Josh Allen. Patriots backfield or secondary. But Jalen Hurts is just he's going to get you with his legs and he's going to get you with his arm. But as we learned from last week, is the championship game the time to get fancy?
Right.
So my gut is telling me Josh Allen. I'm playing against him in the championship league. I hope he doesn't have a good day, but my wishing him not having a good day is not going to change anything. Brad, how do you feel about that?
It's kind of like one of these. It's a good and bad decision to have to make. Right. Jalen Hurts has been incredible. A lot of people are saying he's going to be a top 3 quarterback this week, but Josh Allen has been just as incredible. And I don't, the Patriots defense hasn't exactly been great. They have some defensive back issues as well this week. I'm going to stick with Josh Allen. I think that weather is not an issue in these games. Now, of course, Jalen Hurts has Dallas. Dallas actually played better last week, right? That doesn't mean he's going to play good this week. They did activate Deshaun Jackson there. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but it's still, this is the perfect scenario of paralysis by analysis. Go with your guy. Just go with your guy. Your guy's Josh Allen. He got you there. You stick with it and hope for the best.
All right, guys. Thanks for the compliment.
All right, Jeff.
Make sure you give great show.
All right.
Good luck this week, everybody.
Good luck to you.
All right. Thanks, care. Jeff. All right. So I do have another question here. It actually.
Well, Jeff, hold on. Is Jeff in 2 championship games? I mean, that's pretty impressive.
No, I think that's the same team.
Same team. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So this came in through text from Mitch. Jalen Hurts or Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I would go with Hurts. Yeah, my gut on this one is Hurts.
Well, and the Texans play Cincinnati. So, that's kind of a toss-up too. Do you
look? I have Deshaun Watson at number 6. I actually have him higher than Josh Allen, but I feel like there's so many opportunities. Look, Watson has a higher ceiling than Jalen Hurts, but I think Jalen is probably going to get, if I had to make a guess, probably around 21 points, and Deshaun could be anywhere from 18 to 25. So I think it's a wash between the two of them. It's who you prefer to watch.
I think I'm going to, again, and Jalen Hurts is kind of the hot start this week, right? If you have a quarterback that got hurt or wasn't playing, or Baker Mayfield all of a sudden, and you have, who doesn't have a receiver anymore, maybe Hurts. But I think I'm going with Watson out of these two. But again, it's kind of a toss-up. All right. So
the inactive, just want to let you know that the inactive list did come out for the 1:00 games. There's really nothing significant that we haven't mentioned. There's only 2 things that are worth mentioning that we haven't already talked about. That Cincinnati Bengals, Tyler Boyd, he is out. Look for AJ Green to actually have a good day today. And in Pittsburgh, the kicker, Chris Boswell, is out. So if you have Boswell, don't start him. But really, as far as the inactives, we've already talked about everyone else, and James Robinson and CEH, and those all still hold true. Nothing has changed on that. Duke Johnson being out. So really, those are the only 2 significant players that are out right now.
All right. Well, Kamish, we are going to. We do have another comment here. Some from Mike said, "What kind of pizza should I order?" He's feeling the eternal pessimist has already seemed to thrown in the towel for this year.
In all fairness, let's explain right now that we have something in our league called Pizza Boy, where if you're in last place, I know that in the show The League they had the Sacco Trophy. Right. We have Pizza Boy, where you've got to supply the pizza and the beer for the draft for the next year. and you are forever unclean with the term pizza boy for that year. And Mike was in a race for the bottom with somebody else. And
I'm still in there too. So
that other person had, not only did he have Brady, and not only did he have
Mike Evans, right?
But he also had Nelson Aguilar.
Right. Yeah. So I'm still in that race. I'm in the consolation game and the race for Pizza Boy. I'm hoping this will be brought up soon at our just after year league meeting, that this changes. I'd like to have some different consequences, but we'll talk about that then. But I just like cheese, pizza, so Anyway, Kamish, it's been a great season. I wish you all the luck today going against Dan. Enjoy the day. Remember, it's just fantasy football. And we will see you on Tuesday, just before the year end, our last show of the year.
Our wrap-up show.
Our wrap-up show, and we will go from there. Enjoy today.
And we'd love to hear from Javi and Kenneth and all of our regular on Tuesday about how you did throughout the season, what were some of the significant moves you made, and then maybe even we'll give a little preview into who we think might be, the number 1, number 2, or number 3 draft picks for next year. So we would love for you guys to join us on our wrap-up show Tuesday night.
All right. Good luck today, everybody, in your championships. We'll see you Tuesday.
Take care.